G'day movers and shakers. Haven't made any videos lately because I busted my projector. Well, I blew the globe and I'm too cheap to buy a new one. So hard rubbish, I'll wait for it. But I love making videos, so this will be something a little different. For anyone that wants to watch, it'll be a few videos, but every time I bust part of the rig, and I consider the projector part of the hard rubbish rig, for those that are new to the channel, that's my mess of a simulator that I built out of 100% hard rubbish for free. So anyway, I thought, as I do, rip it all apart, start again. That's what I do. I re-engineer it every time, or over-engineer it, so it just gets tougher and better. So this time I'll have wind, all the buttons working, some actuators, and I have some rumble motors on the pedals. So, being the optimist, every time something breaks, because I made it all 100% out of scrap hard rubbish, I just rip it apart and start again. So I thought, you know what, I like making videos, so I'll show you from the start, from the ground up, how to make a simulator that is really immersive for nothing. So I suppose we'll start with a G27 wheel. That's the best thing to start when you're looking for junk. So the thing is, people throw them away because they jump out of calibration, all sorts of problems. But I'll show you how to grab one that doesn't work and make it work. Not only work, but make it better than factory. Before I show you, that's the guts of the steering wheel. You just rip the steering wheel straight off it, starters. You can wire that however you want. Let's go and have a look. A few things you can do to make it better. So, find yourself a hard rubbish or second hand, or don't pay for it because they'll be broken, the G27 Logitech wheel. What happens is they lose calibration, they go all silly, they stop working, all sorts of things. They get noisy, they get jammed, you name it. Things go wrong with it. There's a ton of things you can do. Starters, like I said, just rip the wheel off, rip the guts out of it, forget about that. Crack her open, take the board out, all the wires. For starters, none of the screws are up tight. So first things first, when you pull it apart, you've got your slider. Get the spring, stretch it. It's got too much spring in it. Well, it did have. This one doesn't now. So what happens is, it's made for the rack and pinion, or the rack I suppose you'd say, to put pressure on it so it bounces back up into the into the gear. It's got too much, so it always wants to bounce off like that, so they lose calibration straight away. But the reason they lose calibration is, in the factory, I'm sure some bigwig in his drawings forgot to add, probably not even 0.5, I'd say it's maybe 0.5 mil washer just there. That little white washer I've added, just take the little circuit board off there, clean the magnet in there. You can see that little shiny magnet, you just give that a clean. It's the Hall effect sensor, and it sits too close and it jumps out of calibration. They all do it. After all, you hit a wall too hard or give them too much grief. But if you just put a 0.5 washer there behind the Hall effect sensor, or in front of it, never drops out. Works perfectly every time, calibrated, perfect. That's the solution right there. Tighten up the motors, obviously, because they're never done up tight. And you've got a working unit. That's always the problem. This little bugger. They just forgot to allow that bloody gap. Then get the gear and shorten it. So the front of the gear, when it's seated real tight, you can see this one's broken. Well, the kid had thrown it out because it had broken the housing. That's no problem. See where it snapped through. But the problem is that gear rubs out there. As you can see, making all sorts of terrible fucking noise and all sorts of things, all sorts of problems. So get the little grinder out, open her up there, around the circumference, I suppose you'd say. File it all off there so the gear's not going to hit. Then, on the gear itself, shorten it. I've just taken my time, I've just filed that short, as you can see here. So it's barely sticking up off the lip there, whereas the other side, what it used to be like, you can see there it's a fair bit of a lip. Take it off, and it won't hit the front when the bearing's in and seated. It won't bottom out. You'll have plenty of room to move. Before you put your bearings in, again from the factory, they're pus, full of petroleum jelly, or fuck knows what they do. Bit of lithium grease, bit of white lithium. After you degrease everything, look at that, beautiful now. Spinning, spinning, spinning like my skateboard bearings, like my big balls, my ABEC high ratings, super Swiss. So look at that, beautiful. No friction, no noise. They're just crap when you find them or when you get them. So there's a bunch of things already you can do that's going to make it better. Then when you put them together, you seat it all, you can do it up nice and tight, which people say don't do. But because you take a bit out, take a bit off the gear, you can really snug it down real well. You can put your bearings real tight, thread a cord through here, like something like this, but I'll use a different one. So you can run it to your button box through your steering wheel here. Obviously it's a different wheel pattern from the Logitech one, but that's easy. You just use some recycled plastic and make a boss kit. I've got one going now, as a matter of fact. So just some recycled lids, the old pie maker, there you go, melting some lids there. That'll be the boss kit. I'll just stick the hub in there, so the 3 screws are seated at the bottom there. Turn it off, it'll cure, pull it out, there's your boss hub. So that's the best way to start making a hard rubbish rig for free. Getting someone else's Logi-spec gear that doesn't work and making it work better than it ever worked. So I suppose next I'll put it all together and then I'll show you how to make the rig itself. If you want to say more, like, subscribe, you know the drill. Thanks for watching.